Are we ditching the horse?
I don't think we have a choice.
Well, there's as the tidebreaker kind of unmoors from the pier that it is up against, because you guys can't reach that side. Its magical propulsion kind of slides itself sideways towards the pier that you guys. A gangplank is dropped. It's wide enough for the cart and horse if you want to take it.
Driving that thing up right now.
Alrighty. So I guess I did an unwild shape.
Well, Saren didn't want to do this, but since the group he was with just bombed the pier, I guess I'm going to run, and I'm going to try and get on the ship.
Okay. You see Saren. Wait for me! Joining with you guys on the gangplank, helping maneuver the carts up and onto the ship. You actually see one of the Elven Armada ships now kind of come around the side coastal portion, so where the wall extends out into the water against the side where the stable and the warehouse that the carriage and horse were kept at. Around that corner, a naval warship comes around. And as you guys finally get onto the ship and the gangplank's getting retrieved back, you all kind of see as portcullises start opening on the side of the warship.
Racha reaches into his backpack and pulls out his coconut helmet and sticks it on.
Surprised you didn't say incoming fire.
I imagine I was scrambling up into the crow's nest still.
You see the other dwarf kind of sitting in his crow's nest, kind of taking cover in case anything was to come at him. And he sees you get up in the other crow's nest and he goes, "Well, this is a pickle, isn't it?"
Aye, Skipper.
"Skipper, we're ready to move." And
then I'll yell incoming fire.
as you guys all kind of instinctually flinch, waiting for the explosions and the shrapnel and metallic rounds to start flying through the air at you. You guys kind of all like hunker down in your spots, and the skipper's like, No, they're on our side. Just get everything ready. Let's go." And you see the naval warship kind of maneuver into the port and take up a position facing the drawbridge.
Probably at this point, just in case someone gets a good look at him, Saren's gonna cast Disguise Self, and he's not gonna make himself unrecognizable, but he's going to make his elven features even more muted than they already are.
Okay. So with that, you all kind of help keep the carriage in a locked position because they weren't able to go through the process of opening up the middle and dropping the carriage down, so it's kind of just getting tied down to the top deck. And one of the sails gets unfurled on the front, about half mast. And with the magical propulsion to redirect it and turn it, you guys start sailing out into the water with the naval warship giving protection. As you guys pass by it, the skipper kind of gives a solid, hearty wave to the captain of the warship, who kind of gives him a slightly shaken head and a salute back.
Yeah, now I unwild shape.
Do you recognize the captain he's looking at?
Nope. And
Well,
you guys are back out on open water. Sorry.
I suppose it's time for Saren to add domestic terrorist to his resume.
Yeah.
After about half an hour, you guys no longer see... Actually, about an hour. You guys no longer see land. No naval warships following in tandem. The skipper has full sails and propulsion moving forward. And once mainland is out of sight, a sigh of relief comes across the crew. And the first mate takes over the helm as the skipper comes down to you guys.
Once we're out of sight, I'll drop a disguise self.
All right, everyone. Interesting situation.
Yeah, how much do you know?
I know fucking nothing, Nori, so spill.
He kind of
Okay.
he kind of
Okay.
like puts his hands up, kind of doing the like the symbol for a little, like that the two hands are kind of close together. And
Little pinch.
not the fingers, like he's got the hands kind of like next to each other with like maybe like a 4-inch gap. And then he kind of like squeezes them tighter to about 3 inches, then he kind of widens it to about 8 inches, and then widens it to about 2 feet. Kind of nods his head to the left and right a little bit, adds about a couple more inches, and it's about that much.
Okay, alright, let's make a long story short. Zelik Ranfarin, you may know him as the fancy, stupid elf he is. His wife, aka my mother, had an affair with a human. I was born. I was hidden for quite some time, but when dear old Pops found out that I am not his child, I was kicked out. Apparently,
I'd hate to be a meddler on your story here, but just so you know, Triskute, Alan Threnton is his new title.
I don't give a fuck. I hate this guy. He hurt my brother. He threw out a 12-year-old child. I don't give a damn what his new name is. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Thank you for helping us. And I'm just confused and I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Well, can we start with where the fuck you disappeared to?
Arix.
I think I can be a little bit more of a soothsayer here, as Arix kind of comes out of the captain's quarters. You see Arix in a cloak and a hood, and as he throws the hood back, you can see up his arms, his hands, and his face. Healing, but still decently new. Gashes, cuts, bruises. The most striking and destructive being the one across his face, and cuts from the left, curve of his chin and goes all the way up his cheek, over his eye, which is swollen shut, and over the bridge of his nose into his forehead. I'm sorry if any of this was... Well, it's all kind of fucked, isn't it?
Yep.
Jaw drop, just like, what the hell is going on here?
I was seeing if I could get passage with the good skipper here. Talked to him quite a few times throughout our years. Good friend. Probably too good of a friend, as he claps him on the shoulder, and the Goliath skipper kind of shakes his head no, and then kind of thinks about it and nods his head yes. And then I saw your guys' situation, and well, to be frank, enough coin will get pretty much any job done. Quite. Anyway, the Army and Navy don't always see eye to eye, and there's jurisdictions regarding both, so when it came down to the Army storming the docks like that, there's a little bit of leeway with what you can get away with.
Nora just kind of drops her head into her hands, just so overwhelmed with what the heck is happening.
Well, it's great that we know that you're alright, in the general sense, Arix, and whatever that was over there at the docks, but where are we going now? Escaporan just shakes his head and rubs his temples.
Racha will, after hearing that question, yell from the crow's nest, Tinko Toema! and then try and jump from the crow's nest onto the dock.
Probably not in any ports quite right now. Let's allow the Navy and Army to kind of deal with this. Luckily, Skipper here is very well known, so they won't take his actions as treachery of any sort, and we'll get to the bottom of things. Unfortunately, my father should not have the type of reach to allow jurisdictional crosses like that, so there's going to be one hell of a legal battle.
Did Rachat need to do an acrobatics check to jump from the dock? Because he's trying to get down as fast as possible.
Are you trying to go from the crow's nest to the deck?
Exactly.
Um,
I'm more of like in a panicked drop because he's realized something.
Sure, make an acrobatics check. Yeah, that's easy enough to do. I mean, you've got ropes and different sort of things to help slow your descent as you come down and hit the deck.
I will beeline up to Arx and look him very awkwardly in the face and squint. And go, 2 captains, one hand, one eye, and point at his face.
As much as I would like to help you with whatever you're looking for, I unfortunately do still have my eye.
He's still squinting at it. He's like, Tinko Tuema, one hand.
You look at Arx and you see that though he can move his left arm and left side of his body pretty well, the right side has not really moved underneath the cloak the entirety of the time that he's been talking or you guys have been talking.
Does Rachel only notice this, or is this like a...
No, you all notice this.
Corn's gonna be like, what happened to you, Arx? Where did all these scars come
Let's
from?
just say that leaving Ardamir was not the easiest of tasks. Father had found out that Nori was in Ardamir and that I was assisting her in getting around. And so, a few columns of soldiers later, and he kind of just, with his good hand, kind of does a, like pointing to him, his body and his wounds.
Quite so. The Kinkus, are they alright?
They're fine. They have political protection. They have no idea that you were considered a technically undesirable, but father likes to exaggerate things, so they did not know that they were abetting a terrorist.
What the fuck is his reason for chasing me?
Well, with its father, did you expect anything else?
Why on earth did he let little tiny me live if he was gonna just come over a decade later and try to kill me? Or whatever he's planning on doing?
I don't think his political aspirations were as high back then as they are now. He kind of looks to the skipper for a moment and kind of points to his backside, and the skipper nods and grabs one of the crew, tells them to get him a chair, and comes from the skipper's quarters with a chair and puts it underneath Arx. Ark sits down, kind of like grabbing the arm under the cloak and like putting it on the arm of the chair, and his right leg also kind of like awkwardly stretching out as it can't bend that well. Father is currently trying to get himself into a situation where, if things go correctly for him and certain people take an early retirement, he would be basically the strongest political figure in Ottomir.
Ah, yes, because I am so very dangerous.
Well, just knowing that his wife had an illegitimate affair, with the things that come with his position, it could technically be handed down generationally. And as you know, elven culture, it's usually the women that overtake any sort of throne. Throne being a figure of speech, not an actual throne. We got rid of kings and queens eons ago.
Nora just takes a really deep, long breath.
So, that is the case here.
Quite. Thank you for at least filling us in on some parts. Thank you, Skipper, for the save back there.
Oh my goodness, Skipper, thank you so much.
It was kind of fun, wasn't it? I do say that, I've always thought about letting loose the Tidebreaker in the dark before, but ooh, that was a spectacle.
If this was a contest, 10 points, of course, to you. Full points. This was amazing and saved our lives.
RX, may I ask a question? What reason did he give when suddenly his two children turned into one?
Disease. I don't remember exactly which disease he said. Something that took you early on in life, and since it was so sudden or drastic, they didn't want to have any memorial or have you talked about ever again, so most observed his wishes.
Nori's just kind of dumbfounded, just like, that's what he went with?
It's easier than saying, oh yes, my wife, she had an affair, found out this daughter is not mine.
And what is his reasoning now?
That you are imposters trying to use the name and visage of possibly what his daughter would have looked like by now, slightly altered to commit possible treasonous acts of terrorism and corruption.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Either way, he's got a large majority of the army wrapped around his finger, for his seat allows as such. But luckily, some of his political combatants are very intertwined with the Navy, and the Navy not always seeing eye to eye on a majority of topics, let alone the upper echelon people. There are some definitely hard lines between the two.
Real quick, would Sarah know if it's illegal throughout the Stormdance lands, or perhaps in like any specific areas, if it's illegal to alter your features magically or non-magically to make yourself look higher in blood purity?
Yes. You can alter features for masquerade purposes, like going to a ball or something like that. You can alter features. I mean, it's one thing to alter features, and then it's another thing to constantly alter your features to pretend to be someone else. So you can do it on an occasional whim or whatnot, but there are actual halls within the spire that stop any sort of magical mimicry or magical illusions such as that to make sure that everyone is truth-telling, especially in courts and things like that. But if you are trying to constantly put yourself into a higher blood bracket by doing illusion work like that, then yes.
But if you're trying to make yourself just look like a different person, not specifically different bracket, would that be considered more acceptable?
It would be more on
as long as you weren't on like in a government building or something like that. If you were just out and about.
Yes, as long as you're like out and about and not trying to technically use this visage in a nefarious way, then yes, it's just kind of like putting on makeup.
I can do makeup. What?
Pretty bird.
Alright, Sarah would probably speak up at this point. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. So if I'm understanding this right, according to the Elven military, and he's going to point at Nori, and then at Eric's, you two are considered undesirables, and he's going to look really stressed.
Arx kind of looks at Nori, then looks at you. You're new into the group, aren't you? She's technically the undesirable. I'm more undesirable by association, but more or less misdemeanor.
I didn't realize treason was a misdemeanor.
I was like biting a terrorist.
It's because of his already stature in the military and the friends that he has that if he was trying to get charged with something heavily drastic, then there would be a lot more pushback within the military from certain members. Because... Oh, I'll let Arix discuss this for you. I wouldn't have as much of a target over my head as my sister here because I do have friends in high places in different regards, and, well, if a blanket-wide search for me is put out, like the skipper here, I have friends in places that would not accept such requests. And if enough people pull against my side rather than my father's, well, then not only would that be a major political blow, but a personal one as well.
Saren will probably give a few like really stiff nods and I don't believe I truly have enough information to either disagree or enough evidence to agree or disagree with either side, but I will choose to. I'll kind of nod to Nori, I guess, to stick by all of your sides for now. But I have family in Artemire, and I can't put them at risk anyway. I'm going to cast Disguise Self again, and I'm going to alter my features enough to make me unrecognizable, but I'm not going to change my blood purity at all, or make it look like... I'm going to try and keep myself in the same bracket.
Yeah.
And I'll say the group, as long as we're out and about in Storm Dance Lands at all, as long as I'm with you, I will most likely be going by this appearance. And I'll also like change the colorings of my clothes subtly, but not completely.
Okay.
Cha goes up and bear hugs him and goes, "Wonderful traveling companion."
And I suppose for now, for convenience, whenever I use it, I'll just refer to it as my alternate appearance.
Okay. It's understandable. I mean, you're kind of getting dragged into this in the last little bits, and no real stake in the game just yet, so I have no problem with it.
But after they all get a good look at the face, I'll drop it again.
Nori's gonna just sit down on the ground beside RX, just kind of staring at the ground with just such an overwhelmed expression.
Belladonna will float over and sit next to you and just kind of rub up against you, kind of like, there.
And that's my mountain.
Cha is still hugging Saren.
Saren is looking a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, after about the 30th second, it's kind of like, well then.
This is our life now. Yes. He'll let go. And,
Yeah, I try to push him off if he hasn't let go.
He'll just sort of look at the rest of the group and towards like the skipper and just sort of shrug and go, "Laporte and Ixia?"
Unfortunately, we haven't really got the correct papers or dock timing or anything like that to really go into the Ixia at the moment, but I don't see why not. We can't make a quick rendezvous in the Crystal Clan lands, kind of like looking at Arx, like, you're the one chartering our ship, so you decide where we're going.
Well, I mean, I dragged them along into my business. Do you have business that I could attend to in that port?
Which port is that?
The one I'm not gonna be able to frickin' say, but I have it written down. Oh god, I hate you and your names, Val. I can't even.
Which port was that?
Shut up.
I'm sorry, Bryn, I don't know the port. Shut up.
Is it the Ixia port?
Just like write it out.
I think it's Dezenta Crasa or something like that.
My guess was Delzentia or Zelzentia.
Oh, yeah.
Crasa or Crasa.
Zeltenia Crasa.
Okay.
No way I was gonna get that one.
No, I don't blame you.
We all know I'm already horrible at pronouncing these things, okay?
Okay, so you can just say that port. Go ahead and redo your sentence to Arx.
I do have a business to attend to in that port, if we're able to get there.
He kind of like looks and tries to think. Kind of rubs the scar portion that goes over his forehead a little bit with his left hand. Skipper, do you... I think I've come about that port before. Long time ago. During the Mad King reign, actually. So, are you telling me that you need to go back?
I mean, I'll look at Arx. Did you have a plan before you helped us escape?
I was merely just trying to get out and possibly find a nice deserted island to spend some time on, and once I've healed up completely, or as much as I can, decide where to go from there.
I want to join you. This is insane.
Well, I mean, I could go back. I need to relay some information. You know, I don't think it'll take too long, but I do have other business deeper into Ixia that I would like to get done at some point, but it's not urgent, at least that portion isn't.
Well, what brought you all to Jerry Youth in the first place? At this point in time, it's pretty much just you, the skipper, your group, the skipper, RX, um, and the rest of the crew is kind of just doing what they're doing. None of them are really paying attention. You guys are kind of like huddled around the skipper's quarters, so you're out of the way.
Cha would pipe up and just go, "Finding you."
Oh yes, your bird friend, right? That's he kind of like looks over at Nori, like think remember something about that?
Nori just kind of nods.
He'll shake his, or he'll nod his head and sort of pull out the map of the coast that he has, and sort of show that he marked the X off for the island they visited, and go, "Barnabas Elrith, take He-Who, Big Island," and just like point towards the other three visible large islands.
Then I was also hoping to get some information on a group of pirates as well.
So you all are keeping busy. That's good. Is there a reason why this Barnabas Elrith took your friend He-Who to a big island?
My people need home.
Well, I'm sure the skipper would have told you this as well, but those islands there, and he points to the rest that are on the map, are all very inhabited, not by the most welcoming of individuals. So I doubt that they would be at any of those islands. If you're looking for a home to be able to fit the entire, I guess flock would be the right word, right?
He just nods and he'll go to Baxi, dangerous cat people.
Saren would probably ask at this point, would the island you found me on be large enough for your people?
Gauging the size of like the amount of people that already like the houses that already lived there, and the first half of your flock would have fit, but with the second half altogether now, it wouldn't.
Yeah, he'll sort of shrug and he'll say something to the effect of, "The route you are on is the right path."
Yeah, Saren has no idea how many Kenku are in his flock, so he'll kind of just shrug.
Yeah, you were gone by the time that they arrived at Artemir. Nori, you see Arx kind of like reach over and like scratch at his arm, and he kind of like stop and just chuckles to himself a little bit, shakes his head and kind of like looks down at you. It's just like a little quirky smile.
Nori just looks up at him. She doesn't have any words to say. She just gives him just the smile you do when you're so overwhelmed there's nothing else you can do.
The exasperated smile. He kind of just like is still looking at you. He's like, "I swear it itches like it's still there."
Still there?
Kind of lifts the cloak and you see that he's got no hand.
I just kind of Look at
Actually,
him.
he's got pretty much no forearm except for like a few inches down from the elbow.
The child will just sort of smile, his squinty smile, and go, one hand, one eye.
I would say, Richard, that you're starting to poke fun at me now.
He'll shake his head no, and he goes, the route you are on is the right path. And then he'll continue, and he'll just go, find the sheep, a large sheep, green and gold. 2 men, both captains. One eye, one hand, and he'll point at him. And he'll go, one has the information, one has the guts to get you there.
Arx, weren't you a captain of some sort?
In the army, yes.
So you held the title of a captain at one point. I think that falls in line with Richard's prediction.
I mean, I was no naval captain. I would dare say it doesn't even translate correctly into naval terminology. I would basically be a... what is it, Skipper? Colonel? Yes, I would be a colonel in the Navy terms.
He'll just sort of shrug and go, green and gold.
I think this is slowly coming together, Richard.
Right. Kind of looks down at you, Nori, like... Because the way that he looks down at you, no one else can see him, so he kind of just, like, gives you, like, a wide eye, like, the fuck?
Nori shrugs and just mentally goes, I'm just as confused as you are. Richard got this prediction thing, and we're trying to find 2 captains, and the fact that you're technically a captain, or technically were a captain, is interesting. I'm explaining this poorly. I'm not great with words.
Richard will just sort of be eagerly nodding towards her and go, I see the future of things.
Seeing the future would be nice.
That would have certainly gotten us out of a lot of trouble now, wouldn't it?
I can only do it once a week.
Oh.
Well, it seems that we've crossed paths once again, and now our future is wherever we decide to go. Where are we going now? I guess is what we need to decide. Or Arx.
I'm
wherever
not
we
sure
go.
where we would find a ship, or if I'm the one that you speak of, but if I can help you all in any way that I can, especially if it keeps my sister safe, then I will assist when I can, but we all must decide on what we're doing quickly, because both of us together are probably not the best situation for staying secret.
Unfortunately not.
Skipper, for now, just take us into the crystal waters, so that way, my father won't have any jurisdiction over us. Is that all right? Ah, yes, of course. Yeah, crystal waters heading north. Sounds like a plan. Glad to have a direction. And he kind of like steps off, kind of sauntering, and starts talking to the first mate as the mast starts shifting. Crew starts working on belaying lines and getting the ship turned towards the north and heading off into the water.
Richard will sort of squat down with his map in front of Eric's as he's sitting on the deck or wherever he's sitting, and go, the information and he'll point towards the 3 islands.
I'm sorry, Rashal, if this... It does include me somehow. I am not the one that would know anything about the sea. I've been on land, and that's where my post was.
And then he'll just shake or nod his head and put his hand on his shoulder and goes, "The guts to get you there," and smile and walk off.
Well, luckily, kind of turns to you, Nori. Like, well, luckily I kept all my guts intact. Kind of just gives you a smile.
I smile back at him. Just. He's silly, even if he's absolutely fucked.
Well, I mean, that could be a good reason to go into Ixia. The tensions between the two countries have lessened a little bit.
I understand your desire to get back, Brim. I trust me.
I don't need to. I understand if it's not an issue, but
No, I'm just saying
the
that
fact that
I would love to be able to go back to where I live at the moment and at least say goodbye to Mother, or the need to go back for a sense of duty or anything like that. But with the tensions just currently being lifted, I feel that any sort of news or situation that gets brought up in Ixia, that as soon as Nori docks, because the Alliance is so tentative, if she is found out, Ixia would have no choice but to immediately apprehend her and send her to Sitia. They don't want to risk the Alliance just because of a single person.
Yeah, let's not start a war. That would be nice.
that is true.
If you'd like, I can help you in facilitating some information being transferred to certain individuals.
I don't think I can.
He kind of like looks at you, and then his eyes, he blinks, and where his pupils and everything were, you just see complete white as he's looking at you now. And he blinks again, and the eyes change back to normal. I see. Kind of under wraps, are we?
She'll just nod.
Give me a day to rest and prepare myself for the next, and I might be able to situate yourself to where you can have more of an in-person conversation.
Look was it physically, but okay.
I'm not terribly familiar with Ixia, but I have at least been in a couple of the buildings and can relocate us there quickly if need be.
Okay.
Real strong wizard.
Kind of raises his limp arm with his other arm, kind of like puppeteers it a little bit. Not as strong as you expect.
Strong enough to get out alive.
It was only about 15 people. It's fine.
Cha will mimic the fireball explosion sound he shot off into the air that one night.
Things like that help, yes. As you basically made the entire crew kind of duck. They all kind of like slowly stand back up and look over at Chiracha, kind of, some of them giving you like dirty looks, while the others, like the dwarf in the crow's nest, kind of just like shaking their head like, oh, and the bird's back.
I'll just squint and smile and wave at everybody.
I believe this is probably the. Besides that dinner that we all had, the first time we've all been able to sit and have a chat.
How long have we been on this ship?
Altogether, about 2 hours. Night has completely fallen, and the deck is lit currently with lanterns. But since you've all been talking, about half an hour.
Has it settled in yet, or is Kaporn okay for the night?
You are not seasick.
Thank God. Okay. Continuing on.
Actually, give me a perception check for Belladonna.
Oh, okay. I actually made her a character, so I can do that.
A.
Oh, it doesn't give me an option to. I'll just roll 20.
Belladonna feels an interesting presence, but she can't pinpoint or see it.
Oh. Does she notify me of this, or does she just kind of...
It's kind of just like slightly piquing her interest every now and again. But it's kind of like a fly in the room that you're only really interested in it when you see it or hear it. But once it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind, you forget about it.
Okay. I'll keep that in... Okay, thank you.
I kind of look up at RX, but I don't say anything.
Just puts his hand on your head, a little heavier than expected. You can tell he's tired, and kind of just like ruffles the back of your hair. Did you get a haircut?
Yep.
Kind of like tilts his head back a little bit to get like more of a view of you. Meh.
I've had worse.
Kind of like the braid though.
Yeah, there was just some force that told me to get rid of it. It's almost like it's out of this world.
Oh well, I guess your brother's preferences doesn't matter. Gotta start getting used to having a little sister again.
Nori smiles and just kind of like grabs his hand.
Kaporn feels kind of uncomfortable now that they're talking, and kind of just gonna scoot away and head towards the cart and the horse.
You scoot away about 5 feet.
I'm gonna talk to the horse.
The horse is moved below deck. The cart is the thing that's on top. Or carriage, I should say.
Okay, Kaporn just hops in the carriage and is just sitting in it.
You're repelled by sibling love.
Kaporn had travelers like caring about you as a traveling buddy, and I was like, your siblings here. Bye bye.
Yeah, Caporn's also an only child, so
I'm gonna let you have family time. RX is here and willing and open to talking. Like during this time, chit chat is happening. So any questions you may have or decisions needing to be made, just conversations between the rest of you can happen. You guys are slowly being ferried northwards into off the coast of the Crystal Clan lands, so it's a safe travel up until the border.
how long is the trip?
Skipper would tell you that you're probably not going to be getting near the Elven Armada line probably until early morning.
Rachaz probably, because he's got that level of exhaustion, I think he's going to tap out and go fall asleep in the crow's nest.
Roger that.
Yeah, Saren's tapped a lot of his spell slots, so he'll probably go and find some place to sleep.
If Caporn at some point would ask Skipper if they run across that island again for some reason, if he could stop by it.
He kind of looks at you. Sure.
Thank you, Skipper.
I think I'll just help Oryx with whatever he needs, just moving around all that stuff where he's
just chilling in the chair. He's not moving around. He's done some decently high level spells, and he is emotionally and physically kind of tapped, so he's just chilling.
when he wants to just go to sleep. I want to help him down. Just anything I can do.
Okay. Eventually, after some talking, he would with your help, find his way down to the cots at the second deck. One of the open ones from the night shift crew. And he doesn't go to sleep right away. He'll sit up and talk with you. He just wanted to be in a more supine position. Just asking what you've been up to, what took you so long in the water, things like that.
Yeah, I kind of fill him in all the little things and just ask about. I don't know. I don't think I ask too much about what he's done because he's just been through a lot. So I try to keep things a little on the lighter side, telling the happier things, just to kind of keep things a little brighter.
Eventually, you get to the point where he's trying to stay up and talk to you, but you can tell he's like ready to zonk out.
Why don't you go to sleep? You need it.
Make sure you get some sleep as well.
I will.
Soon?
Soon. I think I just sit by his bed until he goes to sleep, and then I go find my way to bed as well.
Bryn.
And then from here,
It's about after Oryx and Nori have gone down. A few moments later, as you're kind of either milling about or pondering going to bed, the skipper calls you into his quarters and, like, with a serious face on, he's like, excuse me, Bryn, but we need to have a discussion.
Okay, she's just gonna go, apparently.
So he kind of opens the door and allows you through and closes the door behind, grabs you by the wrist and kind of pushes you up against the door. And he's like, I don't know about you, but the adrenaline has been getting me all sorts of bothered.
That's one way to put it.
And he's going for it. If you want to stop him, you can, but he's going for it. He's hyped up on lots of emotions.
No, she won't. She won't stop that. It's fine.
And for the first time, Bryn gets to experience the luxury of the captain's quarter and his luxurious queen-sized bed that magically lifts itself up out of the ground, or out of the floor. When it's time, he pulls a couple levers that are pushed up against his left side bookcase, and the rug that is the main rug in the floor kind of like slides off to the side, and the bed rises up. You hear a lot of metal and sliding and clinking, and the bed rises up into the middle of the chamber. It's very bachelor pad-esque. But with that, everyone, Kaporin in the carriage. I'm guessing you're falling asleep in there with probably Belladonna.
yeah, enjoying the not being sick while also he hasn't realized it, but staring off into the ocean.
Okay. If you are still awake by the time that Arix and Nori move down the low deck, you start to get seasick again.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess Kaparn would probably fall asleep as he's was alone for a while by himself.
Okay. So, everyone getting sleep in their own times and ways. Eventually, you guys all get a long night's rest, so you can go ahead and put that down. Even you, Kaporin, you aren't exhausted. The morning birds caw and creak, waking you first, Richa, just as the sun is starting to crack over the horizon.
I will do my cocktail.
As you are like mid cockle-doodle-doo, go ahead and give me a dex saving throw.
Oh yes, give me that left shoe again.
As you're up there and you start doing the cock-a-doodle-doo, you hear a and you duck just in time as a small metal bucket flies past your head from the dwarf side. And as it's going past you, you smell the defecation that resides within. And you kind of like stop your cock-a-doodle-doo and look over at the dwarf, and the dwarf is giving you like the shush sign as he points out. And slightly off to the left of where the sun is rising across the horizon, you see 3 naval Elven Armada ships currently keeping formation and heading in your guys' direction.
Which I'll just nod and just go, "Morning, buddy," and then smile.
The dwarf kind of just shakes his head at you.
Kaporn would probably have woken up with just a little shouting from Rachel.
And the loud metal clanging that hits the deck.
Oh yeah, definitely now. Yeah, with the bucket clanging.
And then all you hear is, "Oh, fucking hell! Oh, God. Fuck it." And
It's everywhere.
you just, as you kind of like look down Rachel and Kaporn, you look out the window, you just see one individual, one of the blue skin guys, covered in brown muck and just standing there, almost T-posed, kind of just like, and he just jumps into the water.
Oh, poor guy.
Skipper comes out. "All right, who's fucking throwing the shit cans?" They all kind of point up at the dwarf.
I'll sort of like eagerly look over and go, "Skipper, trouble."
The dwarf kind of does a few signs to the skipper. The skipper nods, and he's like, "All right, everyone, positions, making interactions, fly the correct flags, half masts, you know the drill." And so the crew, 2 of them stop to clean up the mess, while the rest of the crew run about half-masting, flying colors, and just overall prepping as the naval ships. The 2 that there's one that's a point leader, and then 2 back into the sides. The 2 that are back to the sides kind of take a wide circular berth around, while the front ship pulls up beside the skipper and the tiebreaker. The skipper is behind the wheel. All of you would have woken up to the sounds of commotion of everyone kind of running around getting ready. But the skipper stands at his wheel. The ships pull up next to each other and both stop immediately mid-water as the 2 captain and the skipper are beside each other.
Once I wake up, I go to Arx's side.
He's nowhere to be seen.
Oh dear.
Racha, you
Before I
notice. One second. Racha, you notice the captain of the other ship and recognize him. Well, Kay. It's nice to see you in a proper station now. Captain Kazariak on the other ship, kind of just standing against the side decking, kind of just puts both of his arms on the side and just looks over. Got yourself in a bit of trouble, haven't you? The skipper kind of does the whole shrug, like a eh. It's easy if you all just pass through. Do so quickly. Skipper kind of gives him a small salute and a little bow, flourish at the end. Captain Kazariak's ship moves past. The skipper tells the crew to pull down the masts and down the flags as they move past and forward into officially Crystal Clan waterlands. Crystal Clan lands waters. Sorry, flipped that. As the ship picks up speed once again, Nori, as you're kind of like standing next to Arx, is caught, like looking around, like what the fuck. He reappears and laying down in his cot.
I really need to learn that spell.
Well, training, and all that.
He just kind of smiles.
So, with that, the skipper makes his way down to Arx. Alright, old bean, you are officially in crystal waters now. Where to? Bryn, it's about this time that, the movements has happened, and the skipper would have told you to stay here when they start moving again, you're free to go. And so now you're free to leave if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Once they start moving again, that's fine. Get out of the room.
Kaporn, what's your passive insight? Passive perception?
Perception is 15.
Alright. So as you're kind of like making your way out of the carriage, you see Bryn stepping out of the skipper's quarters.
Kaporn would probably like whistle over to her, like, yeah.
She's just gonna shake her head.
Kaporn being like the teenagers, like, you got some, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's just gonna ignore him now, because she's not gonna give in to that.
With Arx feeling a little stronger in the morning, he's able to right himself up in the cots and get onto his feet by himself. And kind of just gestures for the skipper, Nori, him, all to move up to the top of the deck.
Nori will nod and go up to the top of the deck.
Saren, at this time, you'd probably be seeing the majority of the group moving to the top of the deck.
All of the group or just Bryn and Nori?
No, this
I
would
was
be...
already up there.
This is Nori, Arx, and the skipper.
Unless I see Kaporn, Rachal, and Bryn also going up there, I'm probably gonna leave them up.
No one else is down here. Everyone else is already up.
Oh, do I see the rest of them already up there?
Technically, no, because you said if they weren't up there, you weren't leaving. You woke up, the only person around was Nori, and now she's going upstairs too. Bryn spent the night with the skipper, Racha spent the night in the crow's nest, and Kaporan spent the night in the carriage. You wouldn't know where any of them... You wouldn't know where... The only person you know that fell asleep before you was Racha, so...
Sure, I'll go up there. Fuck it.
Fuck it. So with Skipper, Arx, and Nori coming up first, and coming up in between Bryn and Kaporin, and Saren trailing behind, you all are gathered once again. And Arx puts the question forth towards mainly Nori and Bryn, since they seem to be more of the level-headed decision makers.
I just kind of imagine Kaporn trying to do cartwheels at this point, just to be obnoxious.
Well, you're feeling a lot better now. You're no longer seasick.
This is awesome.
Just like, I love boats now.
You woke up and you were seasick, but now you're fine.
It's like there's a presence here protecting me.
All right. What do we think? What direction should we point the ship in?
Like, Nora just kind of shakes her head and goes, where can we go?
Well, we know Jadeport's a bust.
Yep.
And the only other port we were in was the Emerald Quay. Emerald Key? I don't remember.
Yes.
Key. Sorry. Those are the only two ports I think we've been in, really, down there, or up in the Crystal Clan lands. I'm not really sure after that.
Well, if memory serves me correctly, I believe there's 6 other ports available in the Crystal Lands.
Yes, we haven't been there, so I wouldn't know what they are, what they have.
I can tell you, at least from my recollection of, 20 years ago, they're all pretty much port towns and have everything that a port town would port.
RX, how long was I gone? Or how long was I missing, essentially?
From where?
When I left Artemir first time. How many years?
Oh, the first time? So when you returned, just kind of nonchalantly throwing your name around?
Yes, exactly.
Kind of just, like, looks up and hands to the chin. And Rashaw, as he's got a little bit of a beard coming in, you kind of, like, looking down at what's going on, instinctually just be like, put your hand to your fake goatee. And then you see his little scruff of beard coming in, and you're just like, man, that'd be so cool to have.
Have I picked up on Richard doing this like all the time?
Oh yeah.
I literally watched an old dude do it.
I cast Minor Illusion. And give
Well, he's
him
up at the
goatee.
crow's nest right now.
Never mind, I don't do that.
You do it. I basically have just picked it up as a thinking face because it seems like that's what old people with beards do.
I'd have to say, from the time you were gone till the time I saw you, somewhere in the realm of 22 years.
So that would make me 34.
Yes.
I didn't know I was that old.
Well, from what you told me, I don't think you were keeping a calendar in the mountain.
No, calendars weren't super important, and just kind of lost track of time. Dear Lord.
God, you're older than Kaporn.
Oh, she certainly acts like it.
Or
Kapala just
get
kind of chuckles.
from a side eye look.
Kaporn's gonna like tease her like she's an old lady now. Whenever he has a chance. Although he's only like 28, so
It's easy to act older than a 5-year-old.
Arx just nods. Well, like I said, where should we direct our kind companion, as he slaps the skipper's shoulder once more, uh, into his waters?
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Oh, there she goes, just jumping into the water again.
Yes, I dive off the side. I'm sorry, my roommate is doing something weird.
questionable.
Well, it's probably best that we get farther away from the storm dance waters, wouldn't it be?
Well,
Oh.
the only place I
Go ahead.
well, the only place I have any true desire to go is Artemir, but that's out for obvious reasons. So I'll leave any input on destination to you.
If I could suggest, maybe the farthest port away from storm waters would be the best port.
Alright, so the Emerald Key then?
Preferably, I would think.
Alright, we can do that, right, Skipper? Yes, of course, we can head in that direction. And he looks up to the first mate. Towards the Emerald Key. We are going to head in that direction for now. First mate nods to him. Well, it's good to have a direction.
I feel like Skipper's
Good.
kind of annoyed about us at this point because we can never choose a direction.
Well, we had a route last time, so we were fine.
True.
Well, in Saren's defense, the literally only place he has any preference in going is Artemir, but again, that's obviously out.
Onward.
I guess while we're traveling, I'm gonna like casually, until people start getting suspicious, from the crow's nest, be bringing down the random items from that I found in the bag of holding, and seeing if Saren or Eric's can identify anything as magical.
Well, Arx is going to be in his chair pretty much the entire time, so he's there if you need him.
So yeah, eventually I'd bring the staff, and then the short bow, and then the small wooden box, and then the brown liquid vial, and all those sorts of things.
After like the second one, he'd kind of like look at you and be like, "Why don't you bring me everything at once? It makes things a lot easier."
I'll sort of like look around. Is anybody else like watching him do this?
No.
Saren will also if he takes in some of the items.
Oh, I'm during this time I'm gonna tune to my ring.
All right. Oh, I forgot to put that in your thing. I'll do that tonight.
No problem.
It's been a crazy couple days. Okay, I will send you a list of all the things. Obviously, the bedroll is not magical, just FYI.
Like the rations are not either, but and I would actually probably open the small wooden box to see if there was anything inside it or not.
So you open it?
Correct.
Yeah, no traps or anything. It's a couple rolled up pieces of parchment.
Can I read them?
What languages do you know?
Aran, Elven, and Thieves' Cant.
No, you cannot. but Arx can. So after bringing the second item to him, would you just say, would you bring everything out at once so he could just do it all?
Is he just like out on the deck when he's doing this, or is he out?
Yeah, he's so where he's got his chair situated, there's where the captain's quarters at. There's the two stairs that kind of like on either side that lead up to where the wheel's at. He's kind of tucked up underneath one of the stairs. So he can see everything and everything going on, but he's also out of the way.
Then sort of hiding it under his backpack as he'll pull out the bag of holding from underneath his backpack and just start pulling all the stuff out at once.
Okay. Doing that, he would be like, this. And he starts pointing at a couple different items, and he tells you to put the rest away. And he casts a spell, and like I said, I'll give you a list of the stuff that's magical.
Yeah, no, sounds good.
He kind of, after getting done with everything, he kind of like gives you a smile and wipes a bead of sweat from his brow. He's like, all right, is that it?
I'll just gleefully nod, throwing the bag of holding back under his backpack, and give him a hug.
Oh. Feisty little thing, aren't you?
It can handle up to 7 people.
I bet you can. And with that, he kind of like shushes you back to your Kenku nest.
You will skitter off.
Nori, who was probably nearby when all this was happening. Obviously, if you were trying to do it in somewhat of a secret fashion, she would have walked off.
I've just been like cautious about showing her the bag. Essentially, it was all it would have been.
Yeah, I mean, Arx, with you like kind of wanting to talk to him and being cautious, Nori would probably listen to him if he's like, I'm fine, just give us a moment, and she would walk off.
Yeah, I wouldn't. If you didn't want me there, I wouldn't have intruded.
So, after your Kenku friend kind of rushes off with a smiley expression on his face as much as he can, and skitters back up the post, you see Arx is not winded, but a little tired. But Arx is open to any and all conversation.
Kaporn would, when he finished attuning. How long does the attunement take? I'm sorry.
An hour.
Okay, I probably have a lot of time after that. So after he's attuned to the ring, he would be wanting to practice his disguise skills, either on Belladonna or offer Arx to see if he could try to cover up some of those scars and stuff. Practicing that kind of.
He would tell you that his wounds need to be able to breathe and heal. So plastering paints and makeups on it is probably not the best choice right now. Appreciated, but he takes the battle scars with some pride.
Understandable, and Kaporn would nod. It's like, okay, and he'll just be sitting in the cart with Belladonna.
Actually, Arx would also say this: if you feel possibly inclined to try your hand at something, try your hands. Kind of like looks over at you, Nori, nudges you with his elbow. Try your hands at possibly making some sort of attachment, and he points to his missing forearm and hand. That might be something worthwhile to improve your skills.
Warren will take on the challenge. He will go into the cart, like it's like his office, and you'll just hear
Laboratory.
banging away. And just be working away for a couple hours to see what he can make for RX.
All right. So you're gonna do it solo, right?
Belladonna's here with me, but yes,
She doesn't have any proficiencies in any tools.
Rachar's up in the crow's nest. Bryn is doing something else. Saren, I don't know where he is, and Nori is sticking to the brother. So yeah, I'll probably end up doing this myself.
All right. Just go ahead and give me a straight first an intelligence check.
Okay.
Okay, and then a dex check.
Oh, fun.
Please don't break anything.
Okay, I would say after about 3 to 4 hours of tinkering and trying to re-facilitate some of your disguise kit stuff without the real use of any tools or proficiency in them, because though some of this does use your disguise stuff, you're repurposing. So someone with an artisan's tool of some sort probably would have been a good assistance. But you make basically like a mannequin hand. It doesn't have any function past that. You matched it to RX's skin tone at least. And so in that regards, if someone quickly looks at it, it would just be considered normal. But as far as actual any use or being able to do anything, it's lacking a little bit. Not bad for a first attempt, though.
Kaporn will be proud of his creation and present it to RX like if he was presenting a sword to the king or something.
He would take it appreciatively,
And raises an eyebrow but says nothing.
and kind of like gives you a nod as you did the overarching presentation of the hands. And once you're gone, he kind of like starts trying to affix it in some way and kind of turns to you, Nora. He's like, your druid powers have possibly any help here?
Yeah, sure, I can try something. Yeah, can I try to just use vines and stuff to put it on? Or something?
Do you have
Or-
druidcraft?
What?
Do you have druidcraft on?
I don't think I have druidcraft.
It would probably have been the easiest way to help.
Well, then I can just try doing it with normal, just whatever type of fabric I have. Just trying
Okay.
to figure something out.
With
Because Thorn Whip would hurt him.
yeah, just a little bit. Using anything larger than like a cantrip would be a little excessive. Let me see here.
You've said that I kind of want to. No, I couldn't do anything anyway. I don't have the spell stocked.
Okay. With a little bit of like warming of the wood and some flexible maneuvering between the two of you, you guys eventually get it affixed.
I give him a thumbs up.
He gives you a mannequin hand up.
Kaporn over the next few months will come up with something better. Hopefully.
Maybe we find an artificer or something to make him a hand. Or maybe I just get strong and cast regenerate.
So, as far as things go, you guys are sailing open waters, traveling unimpeded, though keeping on the lookouts. Arx gets better over time. You guys can, if there's anything that you want to ask of any of the crew, Skipper or Arx, now is the time to do so. It's going to be about a 4-day journey to get to the Emerald Key.
Kaporan would formally introduce Saren to Arix and kind of bring up that he's a wizard.
That which one's a wizard? Because they're both wizards.
Bring up to Saren that Arix is also a wizard and kind of boast about Arix's abilities.
Nori appreciates how Coparan made her brother happy, so she doesn't. I don't think she opposes this, but she's just kind of like, okay, I guess so.
But besides that, Kaporan will probably just be working around, enjoying his ability to walk freely amongst the ship and practicing his disguise kit and basically turning Belladonna into a doll and dressing her up and whatnot.
Gotcha.
Have I noticed that Coparan and I have both stopped feeling seasick?
Probably eventually.
I think I made like an offhand comment, just like, huh, it's just kind of slightly suspecting Arx. I just go, huh, it's weird. Coparan and I usually get seasick.
And you're not anymore?
Apparently.
That is weird.
I do an insight check on him.
Alright.
I know nothing.
Yes, you know nothing.
You cannot read him because his face is so fucked up.
Actually, he flips the conversation and he goes, I've noticed a little thing between you and Bryn.
What?
Nothing.
Kaporan then offers tea to anyone.
Nori vehemently says no.
Saren also says no.
Arx will take the tea.
Here you go, Arix. A fresh cup of tea. And Kaporan will also take a cup and be sipping on it.
Go ahead and make a performance check.
At some point, Saren would probably ask the skipper if they have any inks or paper on board at all.
Let me see real quick. They're not fancy in any case in point, but yes, octopus ink with some dried parchment. Kaporan, as you hand out the tea, it's a lot better than you realized or were predicting. Nori, what's your passive perception again?
17.
Yeah, you saw Arx cast a spell when he took it.
Considering I have the exact same spell, I'm guessing it's prestidigitation.
Yep.
I just kind of laughed to myself a little bit.
But yeah, Sarah,
Kaporan's feeling really
Sarah, they have enough paper to do pretty much anything that you might want.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask if Saren could get all parties involved to agree, could I try and convince Eric's to teach me like just one spell? Because I don't want to over ask.
You would probably need to convince Nori.
It's all parties involved.
not sure how Nori feels about Saren, especially after the... Me as a player understands. I don't know if my character does. So I think she respects her brother and how he can make his own decisions, and will just kind of go along with what he does, because she's not in charge of him.
I expected a lot different response.
Before I actually go with this, I need to make sure that there's a low enough spell that Saren actually wants, because I feel like it'd go against the sensibilities a little bit to try and learn something super high, or higher level from.
Yeah, in a 3-day window.
Yeah, that's why I said like I need something low level.
Yeah, you're looking at cantrips and some more of the basic first levels.
I can't learn cantrips. It's level based.
Okay, then yeah, it would be one of a more basic first level spell. But first, you got to talk to Arx.
Yeah, I'll go talk to Arx, and well, I'm gonna talk to Bryn first and talk to her about getting the was it 50 gold per level?
I believe so.
Wait, how much ink do I have? I think I got 20 gold. 20 gold worth of ink. And okay, I want to go talk to Bryn about getting 30 gold to buy ink and parchment from the skipper.
Oh, he'll give it to you. He's not really in dire need of it. It was just leftover stuff from the the cartographer.
Okay, then I'll take it.
Altogether, they have 67 gold worth of ink and parchment.
Okay, do you mind if I just throw all the gold worth into my ink supply?
As far as ink supply goes, it's split down the middle, so it'd be like 34 in ink.
Okay, I'll have to overwrite it. 34, 6. And then how much in parchment was that left over?
About 33.
Oh shit, I did the wrong thing. Hold on. Oh, I screwed that.
Yeah, for transcription, it's 2 hours per level and 50 gold per level.
Yeah, I tried to cost override the ink to make it 54, since it goes by increments of 10, and I ended up making it like 7,000 gold worth of ink. I'll do it later. So I'll get the ink from him, and then I'll approach Arx. And I'll try to ask very nicely. And I'll make it's not a big deal if he's too tired or doesn't feel like it. But given that we've already almost fallen to our deaths, I will try and learn Featherfall from him.
Alright, Featherfall. Does he know Featherfall? That's the question.
If he knows Featherfall.
Hold on, I got his list here somewhere. He does not know Featherfall. He's got Thunderstep. He doesn't need Featherfall.
Then my quest for spells is over, because...
So first level spells that he has that he'd be willing to let another person transcribe. You've got Alarm. You've got Detect Magic.
I already have it.
You've got Illusory Script, Silent Image, an unseen servant.
Hold on, let me read Unseen Servant real quick.
I think it needs like twine and a stick, and it's available for like an hour.
Yeah, I suppose if he's willing to teach me, I'll take Unseen Servant.
Okay. Then yeah, over a few hours a day for the next 3 hours, he teaches you how to cast it. You transcribe it into your book. He shows you a couple different tricks on how to use it and what to use it for, and by the end of it, you have Unseen Servant.
I make sure to give my thanks a lot to Arx, and then I will leave him to rest.
And actually, he has a modified version of Unseen Servant to where the duration is actually 2 hours instead of 1.
Do I get that modified version or just
Yep.
basic? Okay.
So you can just put it in the notes section or the customized section for that spell.
All right, I'll probably make a homebrew spell for it just so I don't forget.
All right. Anybody else want to do anything while on the boat?
Yeah, I would have tried to talk to Arx about what he had told me about doing that message, just to get more information about it, I guess, and how we could do that.
Okay. So go ahead and have the conversation.
When you were talking about me giving the message, what did
Oh,
what do we
Braille,
need
I
to say?
completely forgot. I'm so sorry. Yes, I am much more capable today, so I can help you with that. Do you know of the individual that you need to report to? I'm asking more. Is it a dead drop, or are you like leaving a piece of parchment with the information in a specific place, or are you having to actually report in and talk to someone?
We never discussed any dead drops, so I'm assuming a report.
Okay. And this individual, you know them, know their name, are familiar with them?
Yes.
All right. Well, in that regards, I can do one of two things for you. I can teleport us both there, talk to him, and bring us back. Or I can set up a sort of two-way. Well, we don't have a mirror, so I can't really use a mirror, but a two-way portal in which you two can talk to one another.
Okay.
Which would you prefer? One obviously allows you to be in a more secluded situation and a bit more privacy. The other is more easily doable multiple times throughout the day.
Probably the more secluded one.
All right. And he kind of gestures Nori for you to like come over.
Okay, I come over.
Now, Nori, I'm going to help Bryn in doing what she needs to do. It's going to seem a little scary at first, but please understand that well, I've done this before. I'm not too worried for myself, okay?
Nori is now worried, but she goes, "Okay, I trust you."
Right. Bryn, can you tell me of the person that we're going to meet?
He was the major of that town, or that port town.
I need to get as familiar with him as possible to make this have a higher chance of success.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I need to be as familiar as possible with the person so I have a higher chance of success.
Sorry. I think it's this name. Crap, now I'm doubting myself. Um, I'm so sorry.
It's quite alright. It's fun to make you all kind of run back and forth between notes when I'm doing it constantly per session.
I'm just flipping through frantically, like, did I write this down?
I think I have to go, guys. But Kaporan probably would just be practicing his stuff the rest of the trip to the port.
Okay. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Well, there's one other person that's involved that you can go to if you need to.
Yeah, I'm not sure though, because that wasn't the original person I had talked to. Alright, let's go to our buddy Balak.
Alright.
Okay, oh god.
So
If-
you.
If Rachana there, as she's explaining, he would minor illusion his image.
Okay, so she gives the descriptors and the name. As soon as you give the name, he's like, oh, yes, I know the individual. You guys have your fingers in some interesting places.
You could say that again.
All right.
You have to fight me for something like that.
I would not want to be a queen or a king around that individual. He killed the last one. All right. He spreads his arm and his mannequin hand out, and then kind of twists his left hand up in the air, and a dagger pops out, and he goes and he slits the upper bicep of his other arm. As the blood starts pouring from it, he kind of like puts his hand up to stop you, Nori, and kind of like moves his arm around so the blood kind of seeps onto the floor. You see the skipper kind of like lean over the balcony, looking down. It'll be gone in a second. After he makes like a circle with the blood and then a small little pitter patters of blood in between, it kind of flashes a little bit and then disappears into the wood. All right, our return spot has been solidified. Nora or Shaw, would you mind making sure, at least within the next hour, no one resides in this area?
Yeah, okay.
Straightens up like he's a bodyguard and stands tall, and then goes, "Do I poke it?"
No poking involved. He kind of wipes his hand over his arm and it heals up. All right, Bryn. He extends his one good hand towards you.
She takes it, I'm assuming.
I would tell you to, on the count of 3, hold your breath and pray to whatever god you follow.
That's great.
1, 2, 3. And with that, before you, Bryn, you feel a weird sensation. You've moved with Valek in the past, kind of a lurching from the midsection, kind of upheaval of your senses and situation. But this one is interesting. As you're holding Arx's hand, the ship disappears from underneath you, but at the same time, you feel yourself kind of merging with Arx. Your hands becoming one, and then your body kind of like melding into his. And it's almost to the point where, like, it's almost as if you're hugging him. That's how much you've merged. And it's at this point you're like, oh shit, am I like being consumed or something? Before you feel a quick, almost as if he pushed you away from him, and then you get like slammed back a couple feet, and then you're holding his hand again, and you guys are both on solid ground in a dimly lit room with 10 other people around, and right next to you and Arx is Valek, standing there, currently holding looks like a couple folders and passing papers over to another individual. Looking at this individual that Valek is talking with, you kind of also scan the room at the other people that are in here. As your eyes are going from one person to the next person to the next person, you, luckily being in the military, you recognize rank, you recognize the clothes, and you can tell exactly who's who. So, going from down the line here, you realize that all the people that are in this room are the generals of different districts. And the man standing next to Valek, coming in at a decently commanding height of about 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", a buzz cut of gray hair, a solid set chin, and 2 real diamonds in the lapels of his collar. You've never met him. You've seen him a few times. The commander stands in front of you. All right. Seems like we've got some visitors. Valek kind of just darts his eyes between you, Arx, and the commander. Oh, quite. I don't think we've quite made our acquaintance. Bryn. Commander, this is Brynhilde. Brynhilde, and you see Valek's eyes go black. You see Arx kind of shudder momentarily. And then he lets go of your hand, Bryn, and kind of puts his hand to the side and does a small bow. And Arx Renferin. This is the commander. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Wonderful.
Man, I didn't even get to do my Richa wants to make friends with the dwarf thing.
You've got a few more days on the water to do as you see fit with the dwarf.
Fair enough. But
Or
the
attempt.
first person that walks even remotely near the thing that Eric said to keep people away from, Richa's gonna shove away. Just like shove him to the ground.
Just like immediately
think
violently
Nori-
go up to him, just like, get the fuck out of here!
And Nori's just like, please don't touch this. I don't know what's happening, but just don't touch it.
Putting up the cones and the crime scene tape.
Yes, exactly.
Alright, everyone. Do we have any questions?
So many, but no.
No.
Also, so many, but not this time.
Alrighty then.
I've gone on an emotional journey and it was exhausting.
Well, perfectly in time for bed. So, if you guys do end up having any questions that I can answer or need things clarified or worked out, feel free to message me and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. If I don't talk to you all before then, hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll see you all Monday.
See you Monday.
Night.
Good night, everybody. And thank you all for whoever decided to go on this journey with us. You all have a great weekend.